So how could a coach, what would a coach benefit from the courses that we're going to run in February from, so they don't just think they can do it themselves already, but they can learn that extra skill, that extra dynamic to really benefit their players.
Yeah. Well, I am 59 years old. I'll be 60 this year. And there's so many things that I wish I had known when I got started. I wish I had known this and that, but you can't go backwards. You can only go forwards. I think one thing that's really interesting to me is that I'm seeing that the largest group, the largest demographic of people who watch my YouTube videos are in their 20s to mid to late 30s. So it's encouraging to me that that next generation of players and coaches are paying attention. They want something different. They don't want the same old tennis tip. And also, one thing that's kind of inspires me to do this and to want to fly, 15 and a half hours is that one of my early mentors, Don Henson, who was really the one who inspired me to really to follow through and study the brain and neuroscience and learning theory, those types of things, the psychology of learning. He inspired me tremendously, and he recently passed, and I'll be going to his celebration of life coming up January 16th. But there's a legacy there. So I mean, some of Don was in his 80s. I had the chance to spend an entire weekend with him getting trained, and it set me. And that was at the age of 29, and he created such an amazing foundation of thought. And I think that if I go all the way back to 1992, right? So,
Yeah.
1992, 31 years ago, Don was, I think, one of the first ones who said that it's about us learning about and understanding how do our players learn, because every player is going to learn differently. So, and then if you're a player listening to this, then you should be empowered to know that you learn differently from other people. So you ought to seek out coaches that see that in you, that you have this unique quality to you.
Yeah.
And Mark Twain. You're familiar with Mark Twain, American author?
Yes, I think so.
So,
Yeah.
okay, all right. I don't assume everybody knows, every American author, but he's one of the great. He's the most popular author in the United States in the 19th century. And he said this: to the man who only has a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
Yeah.
So, so like here, I'll give you an example. I sometimes like to drop names of players because with some players, it inspires them, it makes them feel good. So I'll say, hey, I'm going to show you how to hit topspin like Rafael Nadal, or I'm going to show you how some footwork moves like Roger Federer. I'm going to show you how to serve like Serena Williams. And then, so I was doing this in the middle of a lesson, and all of a sudden my student said, hey, two things. One, I don't know who those people are that you're talking about. And I'm not inspired by that stuff anyway. I just want to learn how to do this stuff. So you can drop that right now. And I was like, and what is cool about that is she had the wherewithal to say exactly what was on her mind. The problem is many students will not be so direct with you. So it's really important to check in with them, check with your players' understanding. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Do you understand the concept? You know what you're supposed to feel, right? And then delve into that, and then they come back and they say, no, I don't quite get it. And so then you approach that same problem in a different way that maybe they'll understand. it's been said that 98% of sports learning is visual or kinesthetic.
Yeah.
Right. So meaning they're going to learn through imitation and, through observing and imitation, or they're going to learn through the feeling and it feeling right. Oh, that felt good. That's really going to be one of the biggest things. But learning how to teach that way is not something that is taught by tennis certifying groups. So we're filling in some sort of missing information that isn't highlighted, because unfortunately there aren't a lot of people who take a student first, brain first, figuring out how the person learns approach to how they learn. What they do is they learn, how do you hit the perfect power forehand? Like, there's a very famous YouTube instructor, and he's got a video that says hitting the ultimate power forehand, and my friend Sterling and I look at that and we go, okay, great, but when, where, right? What happens if you hit it 15 feet out? So the title in itself is misleading. And then people gravitate towards that stuff because who wouldn't want to have the ultimate power forehand, right? So what we're gonna do, I think one thing excites me is when we get a chance to one-on-one, in person, really hammer this stuff out, and you can look into my eyes and I can look into your eyes and I can try to understand you. So speaking to that person who's going to be coming, I will speak with you. We can work one-on-one some, on how you can be a better player. Some players respond better to criticism. Other players respond better to praise. Some players, if they feel like they're being criticized, they will shut down.
Yeah.
Other players don't, if you praise them, they suddenly become self-conscious, and you have to figure out how they can learn to accept a compliment, because as soon as you say, hey, great shot, then on the very next shot they're going to miss, and you have to figure out, well, why is that?